Hello viewers, today we're going to take a look at a combat mission Battle for Normandy game that I played recently. So this is our map for today. It's a quick battle map. It's a fairly small urban terrain map focusing on a church in the middle. Our opponents will be arriving from the south and will be attacking from the north. Our opponents will be arriving inside this field, and on the other side of the map is our force. I've set it to only allow infantry on this battlefield, so on our side we are supplied with one company of riflemen, and the Germans have a reinforced company filled with heavy weapons such as machine guns and light infantry. You can see that this city is very crowded, has quite a lot of these small corridors. Alright, so the battle has begun. I've decided to split our forces into two main groups. We have a smaller force, roughly one platoon, going into the hillside or the countryside around the village. That force is here. It consists of roughly 40 men, and they'll advance to secure the other side of the village. Our main force will be entering directly into the town, consisting of roughly 80 men, 80 to 120 men, will enter the houses over here and garrison them. Our main objective is to take the church, although as you can see, most of the ground inside the village is highlighted, meaning that we have to take it. On the side we figure out the positions of a small German force. I send my XO team and our platoon commander here to scout out the area with their binoculars. We can see the chateau from here, the church, so that's a good sign that we're nearing the battlefield. We're going to cautiously advance into the houses here before we bring out our main forces. It looks like things are fairly clear on the other side of this building. Our troops are waiting behind near the hedgerows just outside of the village. On the right side of the town, our troops are pretty much garrisoned up. They've gotten into position, and now they're simply waiting for additional orders. I moved some of our infantry forward so that we can get some of the troops in the back to garrison the remaining locations. I want to keep our troops a little spread out just so that we can avoid getting taken out by mortars. And I garrison this line of houses to ensure safety. It looks like we've already met the enemy somewhere. I split my troops and assigned them to locations around this manor house thing. It seems like they're fighting on the other side of the town, so on the left side there's some fire, and you can see that it looks like we've identified some enemies inside the middle of the field there. Now our XO unit won't be able to survive by themselves. Oh, it looks like we found a German MG team inside the field. We're going to have to bring up a few more troops to deal with this group of enemies. I try to rush my infantry platoon in just to spread them out a little better, but it looks like the enemy has already advanced far enough to get into this little gap here. We take a few casualties, but it's alright, we still maintain our positions. Now, at least we got this MG team in position. This MG team can hit quite a few of the troops out in the middle of the field, so they actually managed to take down quite a few troops. Now, if the AI wants to rush our positions, we can easily dispatch them. In fact, if they sit in that field all day, then we can just kind of pick them off one by one and trade casualties with them. I'm a little worried that the enemy is pushing on our flank. I had expected more troops inside the middle of the city, and it looks like there was one platoon inside the middle of the city, they sent up a small force, I presume trying to get into the church from our side, but they were dispatched rather fast. On the left side of the city, the enemy tries to advance with superior numbers. They get cut down inside the streets. So the battle has been going on for quite a little bit of time now. The enemy AI has decided to run their troops through this little gap between the church and the street. Our troops set up here are doing quite a good job at eliminating them. Then I noticed that the enemy is also making a push into our positions on the right flank with infantry coming through this courtyard. We have a little bit of infantry here, not too much, but enough to hold for now, so long as the enemy doesn't push forward anymore here. A little while later, it looks like our forces had to bail. Only a small amount of infantry remain, so it looks like the Axis is winning on the right flank. The little bits and pieces of our squads that still remain on the flank are doing quite a good job at eliminating the enemy forces. However, they'll be forced to pull back eventually. All I hope is that they do enough damage to the German light infantry to keep them at bay for now. If we allow the German infantry to get into the city, into the towns, and into the buildings, then we'll have a really hard time fighting them out. I've got quite a few reserves stationed inside the town, so I split up one squad and move them to the second line of buildings. This way I can get a few shots off inside that squad that managed to enter the first line of buildings. So long as we're careful, we can still win this flank. Now I sent another platoon into the middle of the map. I figured that if we grab the church, we'll have a major advantage over the enemy. I split up my troops into smaller teams so that we can provide cover fire for each other. I sent the first team up, then the second team, and then essentially bounce them in a rally. Now that the second team has arrived, I send up the third team. And I noticed that there were some squads still kept in reserve all the way back, so I bring them forward. Now we really need to get inside that cathedral or church. This part will be a little difficult, seeing as we have to sprint our troops over this graveyard. I'm not so sure about the troops on the left flank. It looks like the Germans have stopped their advance there, and quite frankly, we don't have a lot of troops there, so if they do push, then we'd be in some serious trouble. Now, it looks like the troops on the left flank are fully repulsed, actually. Our infantry team managed to make it into the cathedral without taking any damage, so that must mean that the enemy is either thoroughly suppressed or fully eliminated. Inside the town, on the right flank, I send my platoon forwards. I want them to advance near the center square here, and I want them to advance to the first line of houses that we've recently lost. Now, urban warfare isn't this game's specialty, so it's a little clunky. I'm going to use the hunt command here because we need to advance very slowly and I have to micromanage this. You can see that we're taking fire from behind the houses somewhere. I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble and move my troops forward into this street and hope that there aren't any enemies present here. We have cover fire from the other row of houses, so I think we'll be fine. Looks like there's a pocket of German infantry just kind of sitting inside like a little circle. So that's quite an easy target. They're all concentrated inside one spot. So I move my infantry team up, and hopefully this will be able to just decimate all of the troops there.
Heads up, enemy units approaching.
This is pretty good. They are panicking, so it looks like the troops are trying to evacuate the location. But the surprise wears off, and some of the troops manage to rally and put fire onto our units. Most of the Axis forces are pulling back, which is pretty good. And in fact, they're actually pulling back into the main street around the cathedral. Now we have this street covered with infantry, so as soon as they come out here, they run into another wall of gunfire, and most of them are gunned down already. It looks like we're taking a few casualties inside the cathedral. We're running out of steam on this front, so we have to get some more infantry into this building to secure it. So I send up another platoon. This platoon's just going to go into this building, clear the whole thing out, and occupy the other side facing the German route of advance. We lost quite a bit of troops trying to get in here. It looks like we lost 2 people going in, and there seems to be a few more bodies on the other side of the door. It actually looks like the 2 troops that we had here still are alive. They actually killed one German troop who was hiding inside the building. Now I'm going to take that as a guess, and I'm just going to say that there's going to be some more troops in here, or at least I presume there are more troops in here, seeing as we've shot down one already. I'm going to get my troops to advance to the 3rd level, where there are sufficient number of windows to just kind of shoot out of. And on the right flank, the German advance has stopped as well, so it looks like we've killed the bulk of their force. Alright, the other squad has arrived, so I'm going to send them up to the other side of the cathedral as well. And meanwhile, these troops are just going to deploy up there, get some positions set up on the 3rd floor, and open fire on the troops below, if there are still any people below. It looks like the battle is already over. The German troops have been mostly eliminated. There are still pockets of resistance here and there, but overall, the battle is over. We retain holding on the village and its nearby surroundings, on our side at least.
We got contact. Enemy unit ahead.
This is Pew Pew Choo Choo. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time, I guess. Bye bye.